Okay, hello everybody. My name is Ashley Vatsura. I am a junior at UNO right now, and I'm studying elementary education. So today I'm going to be going with you guys. We're going to be going on a virtual field trip at the Smithsonian Museum. So I don't know if you guys have heard of that museum, but it's actually one that was in the Night at the Museum, which is a movie, and this is the second Night at the Museum. So I thought that was pretty cool. So if you've ever seen that movie, you've probably seen exhibits that are in the Smithsonian Museum. So we're going to be going on this virtual field trip. So first I want you guys to go to this website. It's the Smithsonian's Museum website, and then click on current exhibits down here. I'll give you guys about a minute or two to do that. And it should look like this, and then you'll scroll down and hit current exhibits. All right, so once you're there, you guys are gonna have about 20 minutes to go and explore the museum. So on this current exhibits slide, there is a ton of different exhibits. I mean, there's probably more than 50 on here. So look at all of the names. I want you guys to find one that looks interesting to you, and I want you to explore it. Look at the exhibit. You will be able to zoom in and read the plaque or the information about the animal on it. And I want you to write down facts about the animal or the exhibit that you're seeing, and maybe draw a picture of what it looks like. So when you click on one of these exhibits, just like I just did, so let's say you wanted to look at this one, the Rotunda North. So let's say you wanted to click on that one. You'll see it gives you a map up here, which can show you what all the exhibits are on this floor. So like, this is the dinosaurs. These look like elephants. These are the mammal hall. So if you don't want to look at that, you can just exit out of that. But then you can use these arrows down at the bottom. So the arrow to the left will circle you around to the left. The arrow to the right, you can circle around the exhibit to the right, or you can just click on your screen and drag it too. So these up and down arrows, so if you click the up arrow, it will show you the ceiling. Sometimes some of the exhibits will have things hanging from the ceiling, so that'll be nice. You can see what is hanging from the ceiling. And then if you hit the down arrow, you can look closer. So like if you wanted to read in on these, you would click the down button, and then these plus and minuses are how you zoom in and zoom out. So if you wanted to read this, you would hit the plus to zoom in, and you may or may not be able to read that, but that would tell you about the exhibit. And then you can press the minus to zoom back out. So there's also these blue arrows on the ground. If you click them, they will take you to a different exhibit. So you can either click your back arrow to go back and find one, or you can just follow the blue arrows and they will take you to a new exhibit that you can look at. So yeah, take about 20 minutes, go around, find an exhibit that you think is interesting, read some facts about it, write them down, draw a picture of your exhibit. Yeah, and maybe write down some cool facts like where it lives, where it eats. So yeah, I'll start the timer. Take about 20 minutes to do this. I'll give you guys about a 2-minute warning when we're almost done. So we can go through some of these exhibits together. So some ones that I found interesting. Was the one about dinosaurs. I always think dinosaurs are pretty cool. So the Stegosaurus. Again, we can exit out of the map. So here's some dinosaurs. And if we zoom in, we can read about it. It says, on the defensive, Stegosaurus used armor embedded in its skin to fend off predators. Tall, hard plates lined its back, and a pavement of body nodules protect its neck. So if we look at these bones, this is some fossils that scientists found of the dinosaur. So we can go around, and we can even look on this wall. So we can zoom in on what this is. So these look like reptiles that were in the ocean at once. It kind of looks like a turtle with really long legs. And then we can see more fossils. So mostly when scientists find fossils, they're usually embedded in rock, just like this. So you'll usually see, I think this says it's a head of some sort, but it looks like little creatures inside of rocks. So that's how scientists find fossils. They go dig up the rocks, and usually there's a fossil in there. So yeah. So let's say we wanted to go to the Jurassic dinosaurs. So this looks like another dinosaur. We can zoom in. It looks like a really tall neck dinosaur. And we can look. And this says feeding, so this is probably all the plants that this dinosaur eats. It says it eats leaves from the outside in. So we can zoom in and we can read that. So these gives us the different plants that they eat. So there's these. It looks like they even eat insects. And then, see, there's the really long neck. So that's what I was talking about. We can zoom out or zoom in to see. So it looks like its neck goes all the way around. Look at that. It's a very, very long neck dinosaur. And we can zoom in. It looks like these are more fossils of plants that they eat. So these fossils are cool because if they're found near dinosaurs, it tells them kind of what they ate. So scientists are able to discover what the scientists eat and maybe the habitats they lived in based on these fossils. So that's kind of cool. You get to see, it looks like there's a flower here. It's a fossil, so that's pretty cool. So let's look at another exhibit. So I thought this one was pretty cool. So in museums, there's not always animals. Sometimes there's artifacts too. There's things that tell about different cultures. So there's drums, there's clothing, there's pottery that these people make. So this is the Egyptian section of the museum. And so I don't know if you guys know anything about Egyptians, but they're big into mummifying people. So it reads right here, why mummify the body? Ancient Egyptians believed that a person's soul and life force left the body at death, but if these elements could reunite with the body in the tomb, the deceased might live forever in the afterworld. Careful mummification ensured that the body remained intact for the journey ahead. So it's kind of like the afterlife or heaven is what these Egyptians believed, and they believed that if these people were mummified, they could essentially go to heaven. So I think that's pretty cool. And the different ways that they do it and the art, so you can see the drawings that they drew. These are how they believe they would look. And you can see there's a head of a mummy over here and some, it looks like pots and some charms. It says the tuck amulets into the mummy's wraps. They are believed to ward off evil and bring good luck. So more spiritual things. We can go look. This looks like a bone section. Don't know what happened. My blue arrow went away. We'll go to this one. So these look like bones. So this looks like other animals. These look like fish. They are fish. These are different types of spiny rayed fishes. It is a catch basket order for many relatively unspecialized forms in which they are probably ancestral to most of the more specialized orders. So these are like ancestors of fish that we know today. So these are fossils that scientists probably dug up at one point. So as you see, a lot of these fish look the same, and there's just a little bit of difference. It's like this one has a bigger head, this one has a smaller head. These bodies look relatively the same. So over time, these fish adapt and evolve. We can look at more. Let's say we go here. So this is a crocodile. So a crocodile fossil. And you can read information over here about it. So this is a New Zealand Tatara. So that must be a type of crocodile, but this one was found in New Zealand. So that's pretty cool. And there's even these pictures. So if we click on these, we can see what they look like up close. So that's kind of cool. They're bones, but you can see all these little tiny holes and stuff in their bones. So that's pretty cool. We can even click on this one. So look at all its really tiny teeth. So also you can tell a lot by what an animal eats based on its teeth. If they have really sharp teeth like this, they probably ate a lot of meat or fish. And if their teeth aren't spiky, they probably ate a lot of plants. So scientists also look at their teeth to determine what these animals ate. These look like more turtles on the wall. These look more like the turtles that I've seen. So there looks like baby ones with shells. And you can even see the underside of a turtle shell, which is kind of cool. So if we follow the arrows, I think we're back to where we started. You can find another one. So let's say we wanted to look in the North American mammal section, since we are in North America. So these, it says the frozen north. So these pictures, that looks like a white fox or a snow fox. This looks like a caribou. You can also zoom in. So yeah, so these are all mammals that lived in the cold. And as you see, a lot of these animals have fur. The fur is what keeps them nice and warm in the snow so they don't freeze. So these are more animals. Oops. That you would find. So these, I'm guessing, are not going to be found in the snow. I bet they are found in warmer areas, even though they do have fur. You can look at this. These are pretty cool. So that looks like a possum. Hunting. Yeah, and then you see there's all these pretty pictures on the wall. There's trees. You can even zoom in. What's inside a chipmunk's cheeks? Acorns, other nuts, and seeds. Chipmunks stuff these food in their elastic cheek pouches and carry them to underground burrows. Some gather a pile of winter supplies big enough to fill a grocery bag. So when they hibernate, You can see right there, they stuff acorns and nuts in their teeth to take with them so they can hibernate over the winter. And there's the picture we just saw of the cat attacking the bird or hunting the bird. We also see right here a deer and its baby. We see other animals. We see a bear. So these are more like the animals that we've seen. I don't know about you, but I've never seen a dinosaur in real life. A raccoon. So this says the human origin. So if you guys know, we're actually supposedly descendants from apes or monkeys. So they say a lot of our features are the same. So our skeletons look very, very similar to each other. So like a human skull and a monkey skull look very, very similar. And as you can see, they kind of have a picture of a baby on a jungle gym and a monkey hanging from a stick. So as you see, we both have flexible wrists. We both have flexible elbows. We have broad, flexible shoulders. We have a broad chest and a stable backbone. So there's a lot of similarities between us. We're adapted for flexibility. That humans are primates and members of the great ape family. Although we did not evolve from any of the apes living today, we share characteristics with chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, and other apes. Early apes evolved adaptations that provided the flexibility to climb and swing through the trees and also move easily on the ground. They passed these adaptations down to some of their descendants, including modern humans, Homo sapiens, which is what we are. And again, here's some more fossils, it looks like, of heads or skulls. And click this arrow, changes, how humans have changed the world. This one doesn't really have much. Yeah, it looks like a cave here. So a lot of in the past, people drew art in caves to tell their stories. So you know how we would write books nowadays or make a movie. Back then they created paint and they wrote their stories in caves using pictures to tell their stories. So you see there's an animal right here. There's maybe some handprints. So if you guys have ever seen Ice Ages kind of like that, where they saw the mammoths on the caves in the drawings, that's the same idea. They told their stories through paintings. So, yeah. Oops. So here's a picture of it looks like a mom maybe and her son. There are more pictures. So yeah, we see all this about humans. So these look like carvings or statues that people made to tell stories. You can see, I was explaining before, we have a lot of similarities. So our brain sizes over time have increased slowly. As you can see, it started small and then it's getting bigger. And our body sizes increase. So it's showing you how humans have evolved over time. And then there's some pictures of humans on the wall. Looks like more skeletons here. Yeah. So yeah, here's some two human skeletons too. Shows you similarities and differences. A lot of the museum has interactive things too that you could play with. So that's why, like this over here is something interactive you could do over here. So that would be nice if we were in person to do that. And yeah, we cook using a fire. Back then we used to make fires to cook things. We couldn't just turn on our ovens and stoves. Technology, we created technology, which helped us a lot. So let's look at some more things. So we could also look at insects, not just humans and mammals. We can look at other insects. So it says there's a creature in here, and it also talks about how they disguise themselves. Many insects use sudden displays of startling color to confuse attackers. These insects respond to a poke or a prod with eye spots or a brilliant flash of color before making their exit. So essentially this insect in here is camouflage so its attacker cannot find it. So, I mean, it looks like maybe a cricket right there. But yeah, the whole point is that they disguise themselves so they can survive. So I don't know if you've ever been to the zoo, but when you go into the snake or the reptile area, you kind of have to look for them because they're always hidden. It's the same idea here. There's trees with lots of leaves. This kind of looks very similar to the Henry Dorley Zoo that we have here. So we can look at some more insects. The map. So it looks like all these different insects on the wall. It says species is a group of individuals that can breed together to produce fertile offspring, but cannot breed with other groups. So that's why humans can only breed with humans. You know, bears can only breed with bears because they're the same species. You can see more over here. So that's kind of pretty. I bet you could sit there and you could look out. That would be nice. More insects on the wall. Which is also pretty cool because it's Corona, is they also have a section in their museum that is about outbreaks, so diseases like the corona that we have right now. So global pandemics. So these are worldwide pandemics that have happened before in the past. So we could read all about those. So if you look, this is what this disease looks like. I think they look pretty cool. They almost don't really look like diseases. But there have been pandemics just like this happening all around the world for a very, very, very long time. And it's kind of cool that this museum shows us that. You can also see more. So we go to that one. Oh, that's where we just went. And we can see all these pictures. So see, they're wearing masks just like we are now. Yeah. A lot of these look very similar to what we see now. Cute little picture. And this is cool. It says, do humans cause epidemics? Epidemics may seem to come from nowhere, but they don't. As human populations have grown, we have changed the environment and increased our interactions with animals, enabling the spread of pathogens. Our history of epidemics is human-made. So essentially, we as humans have made these epidemics. So a lot of these diseases do originate in animals, but because we have contact with these animals, we are essentially spreading these diseases. So this would be an interactive thing. It says, where in the world are outbreaks occurring? So you can interactively play with this to figure out. There's probably a map. Yeah. And then there's also some animals that are found in the ocean that are in this museum. So this looks very similar to what you might have seen when we went on the site. So the deep ocean. So this looks kind of like a jellyfish, almost, just a little bit bigger. So it says, what does it take to live in the deep water column? With food scarce, animals have evolved to find meals while conserving energy. Animals in the deep ocean water column must catch what little food falls from above, or catch each other. Big mouths on small bodies are efficient. Metabolic rates far lower than those of related animals in upper waters use less energy. Many organisms have watery bodies that float and move with little effort. So because they're not getting a lot of food, they can't use up a lot of energy. So you can't, just like us, we can't go run a mile if we haven't ate anything all day long because we don't have that food to give us the energy needed to go that long distance and go really hard. So this one kind of looks like the aquarium you might see at our zoo, and see there looks like a whale up here. And maybe a shark back there. Yep, it looks like a shark. Ocean surface. Some benches. Now let's look at another. So let's say we wanted to look at coral reefs. I think coral reefs are pretty cool. So if we zoom in, that's what the coral reef looks like. If you've ever seen Nemo, that's what Nemo lives in. So there's a fish and the coral reefs. So these things actually grow in the water. We don't put them in the water, they grow them themselves. Here's other things. So these are pretty cool. So these are other structures that are found in the ocean that are alive, but they aren't necessarily animals. Just like the coral reef is alive, just like this fish, it's alive and you can kill it, but it's not technically an animal, but it's still alive. It still moves, it still grows. What killed this reef? So there's a lot of topics and discussions right now about people killing the coral reefs by stepping on them in the ocean. Our oil spills in the oceans are killing the reefs, sunscreen. So who knows, someday we might not have any more coral reefs, which will be sad because a lot of fish rely on these coral reefs to live in, disguise themselves from predators. So the coral reefs are very important. So this one says this coral reef was killed by a mollusk, which is a type of animal. It weakened the reef structure and basically created a bunch of holes in it, so it died. Which, as I said, is not good because a lot of fish rely on these coral reefs to survive. So they are very, very, very important. Just like trees are important for us because we use it for oxygen. So yeah. More fish. It looks like there's a skeleton up here. That one looks kind of scary. Sharp teeth. Probably ate other fish. Maybe some meat animals. Some animals that have meat. So yeah. And there's also sea monsters. So these are pretty cool. These are kind of like the sharks and stuff that we've seen. So this is a sea-faring lizard. It kind of looks like a whale, except for a little bit skinnier. They have flippers, nostrils, a spine, a tail. So that's kind of cool. And look, looks like there's its spine. Looks a lot like ours, just a little bit longer. So it says, watch out. Could you imagine if you were swimming around and saw that coming? You'd probably be really scared. Probably would not want to go in the ocean anymore. And then some sea turtles. So that's what its skeleton looks like. See, it has the arms and has a head, and its shell has a lot of these underlying features that you probably don't notice from the shell, but in its skeleton you can see it. So yeah, if you want to go and explore this website, there's a ton more to look at. See, there's butterflies, there's the sea monsters, there's more animals from the ocean that we did not get to, there's the outbreaks, there's butterflies, there's insects. We also didn't get to these, but there's like jewelry that has been found or rocks. It also talks about space. So the exploration of space, the minerals that are found. So it talks a lot about Mars. So if you're interested in Mars and learning about what is on the surface of Mars, you would probably want to check this out. A garden. So if you're interested in plants or flowers and learning more about Egypt and their culture. And then apes. So Lucy was the name of a famous monkey. So if you're interested in that, you can look at that. We kind of looked at this, but it says fossils. So there's dinosaurs, there's animals from the Ice Age, evolution of life. There is a ton of things to look at. You could probably spend hours on this site and probably hours in the actual museum itself. And also, as I mentioned, not all of museums have just animals in them. A lot of them have artifacts and pottery. So these are African, it looks like an instrument, and they make pottery. So if you're interested in that, you can look at that. And then, like I said in the beginning, so I'm just finishing up here. So what did you see? So talk about with your family, your friends, what you saw. What are some interesting things you learned and saw? Like I said, there's more than just animals. There's instruments, there's clothing, there's pottery, there's fossils, and we talked about the mummies a little bit. So these were, this is what they would put the bodies in to mummify them. There's also plants, and these are some of the rocks that I was talking about and the minerals. So they turn these different colors, which I think, well, makes them pretty cool because they're all different colors. So yeah, if you have time on your own, you can do this, but I thought it would be fun to create your own animal because who knows that an animal that you might create could someday be discovered. So if you have time and want to do this, you can create your own animal. You can give it any feature you want. So if you wish there was an animal that looked like an elephant but could fly, you could give it elephant-like features and give it some wings. If you wanted your animal to have some sharp teeth, you could give it some sharp teeth with some scales. You could choose to give it legs or not. So you can make your whole animal how you want because who knows, like I said, someday your animal might be discovered. There's so many animals right now that have probably not even been discovered yet. And we just need to find the fossils. That's how we discover these new animals that were once in our past. So if you have time, you can do that on your own. Create your own animal. That'd be a fun activity to do. And thank you. That's it. Have a good day, guys.